by the end of this video, you should be able to achieve this, a full functional cart where everything is working just like in real time. So if this is something you would like to learn, you're welcome. Now let's get right into the video. Now, inside this frame is everything we need to achieve what we want. So I just brought this out to show you how we got here. So all these are components, and in order to make this a component, all you have to do is click on the frame, come over here. You see this icon over here, create component, and you click on it. Same for this. All I did was create the active button, then I had to duplicate it. I created the inactive one. Let me just, then all you have to do is select the boat. You come over here and you create a component set, right? So that's how I got this, and I got all this. This is a product card. You have the name of the product, the image, the price, the product count, and the delete button. I also made it a component. So I'll quickly delete this. This is also like this the counter, right? So it's also a component on its own. Now, to get started, we have to start by creating our variables, right? To get everything working. So make sure you're not clicking on anything, your nothing is selected. Then you come over here and you click on variables. Now you notice this is empty. Nothing has been created yet. So you come over to this create button and you click on it and we'll create a number variable. Now this has to do with more of numbers. So we're going to be creating mostly no color variable, just number and string. So let's head right into it. So first thing we want to do is come over here and rename this collection so we don't get confused. We'll call this product variable. Yeah, product variables. The first one we'll create here is product count, and the value would be 1. Now, the variable we just created is for this. Okay, that's what we just created. So, if you're wondering what we're trying to achieve, we want to create variables that will help us get a full functioning cart where we can add the numbers of a product or decrease the number of each of the products, and the total will also increase or decrease with whatever you're adding up here. Even the number of items will also be dynamic as you add up or subtract. So that is what we're trying to achieve. So the first thing I did was to create the variable for this. Now we select this number here, come over to this icon here where you have apply variables or property, and this is the product count we just created. So I'll assign the variable to this number. Yeah, now you see product count. The next thing we want to do is we want to make this function. When we click on the plus icon, this number keeps increasing by 1. So as I've selected the plus icon, I'll come over to the prototype section and I'll click on interaction, or just click here the add button, or you just click here. Now you see no interaction has been added to this. We'll click on it and it's going to actually be on tap, right? Then we have to add an action to it. So you click here. When we tap, we want to set the product count variable to product count plus, that's addition, plus 1. You just hit 1 on your keyboard and that's it. Now let's see if this is actually working. So I'll click on this and we'll just go ahead to view it. So this is it. Now, when I click on the plus sign, you see that the number keeps increasing. Yeah, that's what we want to achieve for this. So we'll go ahead and work on the subtraction button. Now we'll just do the same thing. I'll select this, go over to the prototype section, click on interactions, click on this. Now on tap, we'll add action. We'll set the product count variable to product count subtract, that's minus. You click one on your keyboard and that is it. So let's head over and check. Now I can add and I can subtract. But you notice that this is going into the minus and we don't want that to happen. We want it to just stop at 1, which is like the default number, right? So we'll head back. Now, in order to stop the numbers from going into the minus sign, what we have to do is to add a conditional. Now, what I'll do is I'll click on this and I would add an interaction, right? So would add the conditional, would select the conditional. So this conditional is like we want to add a condition, right? If this certain target is met, fine. But if not, do this. Okay. That is that simple. So what we want is if this product count is greater than 1, then we want this to happen. This formal interaction we added here, we'll just simply drag it into this. Okay. You just pick the first interaction we already added to the minus sign and you drag it into the if section. Now let's check what we have. Now we can add and we can subtract. It ends at 1, just the way we want it. Now, with this being done, what we want to do is we'll come over here. So there is an auto layout in this frame. So when I select it, all I have to do is to duplicate this. I want to duplicate it just 2 times. Yeah, for I want it to just be 3 items. So what I have to do is select this image, come over here, and I'll replace the image. So I'll give this the bag and I'll select this, come over here, and I'll give this the watch. So because this is the main component and inside each of these cards we have the instance. So all this counter, they are all working. So now we want to create another variable. I'll come over here and click on variable. Now we want to create more variable for the numbers we have here. So we'll create variable for the price, for the total, and for the item counts. So these are all the variables we're going to create eventually. Now I'll create a string variable and it will be named product name and the value would be sunglasses. All right. So I'll create another variable, number variable. This will be the product base price. I'll give this a value of, let's say, 20. Then I'll create another variable. This would be product total price. All right. And I'll leave the value at 0. All right. So this product count happens to be this, okay? This is the product count. And we've already assigned it. The product name is this. We're yet to assign it. the product based price will be visible here, but we won't assign the product based price to this zero. Rather, we would assign the product total price to this zero. Okay, the value, yeah, we'll just assign it to this. Now, because the product based price can actually be dynamic depending on the number of products we've added or we've subtracted. So this would be dynamic, and it's going to be determined by when we're adding the prototype or the interaction. In order for us to get that dynamic number, it will be the product based price times how many products we have for each of these products, right? So you get what I'm saying with time. Now, without wasting time, we're going to create different modes for this. Now, this first one, I would name this card one. Then I'll go ahead to add another one. I'll name this card two, and I'll add another mode, and this will be card three. So this is for the sunglasses. This will be for the bag. The card two will be for the bag, and the card three will be for the wristwatch. Okay. So what we have to do here is change the name and the product base price. So this would be bag. This we can give it 50. Same with this watch. We can give this 90. All right. So let's quickly assign. Now to assign it, we'll go to the main component, right? Because this all these are just instances of this main component. So to assign them, I would click on this, select the text, the sunglasses text, come over here. You see the apply variable button. I'll click on it and I'll assign product name to it. So you can actually see the value just beside it. So yeah. As for this, you notice that the text box for this and this is different. So don't make that mistake of adding them to the same text box. So make them separate. So this zero, I selected the zero and I'll come over here and I will assign the product total price to it. Now, we've already assigned this. So what we have to do now is I'll click on this, select this card, which is the card two. I'll come over to this appearance section and you see apply variable mode. When I click on it, you'll see the modes we've created, right? So I would assign this to card two and it has changed. I'll select the third one and I will assign it to card three. So this is already card one, right? The information is already there. So now we've changed the information in each of the cards. So let's check if everything is working just fine. All right, so the count interaction is working just fine for each of the frames. Now you notice that when we preview this, the value, the price of each item is set to zero. Like it shouldn't be that way because by default there's already one item added to the cart. Like for each of these products, one has been selected. So of course you can't tell me the price of one is $0, right? So the price we have to add the prices to them. And you know that even if we've assigned a variable to this, we assigned the product total price to this, which the value is zero. But what we want to see here is the product base price. So let's quickly fix that. In order to see the product base price on the screen, we need to calculate it. So it should be the base price times product count. And we'll also have to add a quick interaction as soon as the page loads so that we'll be able to see everything. So I will select this card and I will add an after delay interaction. So we'll come over here and I'll add interaction. So this won't be on tap. It's going to be an after delay of 1 millisecond. So we want, as soon as we open the card screen, we'll automatically see the numbers appear. So that's why we've added an after delay of 1 millisecond. So what do we want to happen immediately the screen pops up within the 1 millisecond time frame? We're going to set variable, right? We're going to set the variable of the product total price to product count times that's multiplied by the product base price. Now, because I added this interaction to the main component, it has applied to the instances. So let's head over to preview this and know what we have. Now you can actually do this quickly by selecting the screen, and you click shift and space on your keyboard. But let's head over here to preview it. So now you see that once the page is up, you see the product based price, right, for each of the products. So the next thing we want to do is we want the total to be summed up. So 90 plus 50 plus 20, we want the total to actually be visible here instead of zero. So we'll quickly go over to our page and would fix that. Now, in order to achieve this, we'll come back to design, move over to variable, and we're going to create another collection. So I'll quickly come here and click on create collection. I'll change, I'll give this collection a name, cat variable, cat variables. So I'll come over here and I'll create a number variable, and we'll call this cat total. So the cat total variable, the value would be zero for now. So what we need to do is come over here, select this, come to prototype section, and we'll add an interaction to this. So we'll click on this plus sign to set the variable. So it's going to be cat total. So we'll set the cat total variable to cat total plus the product total price. Now let's assign this variable because we haven't done that. Let's assign the number. So make sure you select just the zero. Then we'll come over here to apply variable, and we'll set the variable to, we'll assign the cat total to the zero. All right. So let's quickly preview this to see what we have. Now everything has been summed up. Okay. So the next thing we want to do now is to be able to add up this number when we click on the plus sign, and to subtract when we click on the minus sign for each of this. We'll head over to this, click on the plus sign, head over to prototype, and we're going to add an interaction to this. So I'll click on this and we'll set a variable. We'll set the product total variable to the product base price times the product count. All right. What we basically did is whatever number we have here times the product base price. Let me show you. What we did here was this number times this. Okay, you can't see the product base price on the screen. Okay, but we've already set the variable and we're using it to add interactions while prototyping. Okay, so that's why you might not see the numbers appear here, but when you move over to your prototype section and you want to set a variable and add interaction, you're going to see this with the values there. So that's why variable is really necessary if you want to go into complex prototyping. So in order for us to multiply the number that appears here, that's the price of the product, we just did the we just did the product count multiplied by the product base price. So if we have two here or three, when we go over to our prototype section, you see that automatically the number here, that's the 20, will be doubled to 40. Okay, but let me just set it back to 1. All right, so when I click on this, you notice that now the count is 2 and it has doubled the price of the sunglasses. So if I keep adding, it keeps increasing, right? Another thing we want to achieve is, we want, as we keep adding and the price keeps increasing here, we want the total to increase as well. So we'll just head over and add that interaction. We'll come back to this same interaction and we're going to add another interaction, right? So I'll add, click on this plus sign to add interaction. So we'll set the card total variable to card total plus the product base price. Okay. All right. So let's see what we have. Now, if I keep increasing the plus sign, then the count increases, the price increases, and the total as well increases. Now we're going to add the same interaction for the minus sign. Now for the minus, I'll just click on this and add interaction. Click on set variable. We'll set the product total price to product base price times the product count. And what I want to do is, I would select it and drag it up into the if statement. Now let's view what we've done. So when we add, the numbers are adding up and the total is summing up. But when we click on the minus sign, it's just the price that is decreasing. The total is not decreasing. So let's head back and do that as well. I'll click on the interaction and add another interaction. So set variable to cat variable. We want to set the cat total to cat total minus the product base price. And we'll do the same thing. I would select it and drag it into the if statement as well. So let's see what we have. You see, now when we subtract the item, the price subtracts as well, and the total the same thing. So we'll add this. We have like $260 here. When we subtract, now we have 240, 220. Here we have 60 now, 200, just that way. Now, the next interaction we want to work on would be for the delete icon here, the delete button. So let's assume you don't want to purchase a particular item. So you want to delete it from your cart. All you have to do is click on the delete icon here and that particular card goes off, right? So we'll add the interaction right now. When we click on this delete button, any on each of the cards, on each of the cards we click the delete button, that card will become invisible. Okay, so it will go off. And since the total here is three items that we have, it means that when we click on the delete button, which is this delete icon here, the particular card will go off and this item will also reduce. So if we remove one card, this will change to two items. And if we remove another card, it changes to one item. And if we remove the last item, this will become zero. Now let's work on it. I'll come over to design and we'll create variable. This time around, the variable we're going to create will be a Boolean variable. I'll click on this and I'll select Boolean. I'll name this product visibility and I'll leave it to true. All three of them true. Because by default, we're seeing each of the cards, right? So we'll leave it at true. Now, all we have to do is assign it. So I'll select each of these cards and I'll come over to this appearance section. You see this eye icon here. I'll right click and I will assign the product visibility variable to them. Yeah. So let's go back to this place. Now you see all the three products are visible. If I move over to card 2 and I turn it off, you no longer see the bag. When I turn it back on, you see it. Same with this. Yeah. So with this, we'll be able to add the interaction we want to this delete icon. So I want to come over to this card variable and I want to create another variable. It will be a number variable. So I'll just duplicate this and I'll name it item count. And the value will leave it at 3. So we'll head over to this number here, which is the item count. And I'll come over here and assign it to item counts. You notice I selected just the 3 and not with this, just the 3, the number. So we'll head over to the prototype section and I'll select this and I will add an interaction to it. So it's going to be on tap. We'll set the product visibility variable to false. So it means that when we click on this, we no longer want this card to be visible. So, we named it product visibility. So we've set it to false because it's actually turned on. By default, they are all turned on, right? So we want when we click on delete button, it goes off. So you no longer see the card. Now we are going to add another interaction to it so that when it goes off, the total price will also be updated. But before we do that, let's preview what we have. So when I click on the delete button, it goes off. So what we want to do now is we'll quickly update the cart total, right? So we want, if we subtract any card, the price inside the card will be subtracted from here as well. So what we'll do is to click on this again, come over here and we'll add an interaction. So we'll set the variable, which happens to be the cart total variable. We'll set it to cart total minus the product total price. So let's check it out. All right. So just watch here. The total is 140. If I remove the $90, it will be left with $50. just like that. Now is 0. All right, let's go back and also work on this interaction, because as you can see, we still have 3 items, but we have nothing on inside this cart. So this should actually be 0, right? Now let's go and work on it. So we'll select this again, and I would add action. So in order to update the number of items, we're going to set the variable, the item count variable, right? We're going to set it to item count minus 1. Now let's see what we have. All right. Now we have just 2 items in the cart, and here is updated to 2 items. If I remove another one, we're left with 1 item, just like that. Okay, we're getting there. The next thing we want to work on is this button. Now it's active, but there is nothing here. So we want a situation where when we remove everything from our cart, this card, this button becomes inactive, right? Let's quickly work on it. So we'll come over to design and go back to variable, and cart variable in the card variables collection, we're going to add another variable. So we'll click on this and we'll add a string variable. We'll name it button state, and we're going to name it. So this is very crucial. Now you have to make sure you name your buttons right. So if you look over here, you'll see that this is named states, and inside we have active and disabled. So it doesn't really matter. You can name it whatever you want. You can name it default, disabled, or active, inactive, any one. So this button, the green one, is active, while this second one is disabled. Please make sure the spellings are right. And when I don't mean just being correct, like the spelling being correct, I mean whatever spelling you use here, make sure is what you input in your variable section. This is active. Let's go back, and the value would be active. That pop-up is coming up because I've actually worked on this before, so it's popping up. So if yours doesn't come out, don't even worry about it. Just input what you want. So in order to assign the variable, I'll come over here, select this, come over here where you have apply variable, and I would assign the button state variable to this. Okay, notice I added it to the instance, not to the main component, right? So what we want to do now is to add another interaction to this delete button. So this time around it's going to be a conditioner. So we'll head over to the prototype section, and I'll click on this and click on the add action button. I'll select conditional. So it's going to be if the item count is equal to 0. I'll come over here, click on set variable. That's the button state variable. We'll set it to disabled. So you just type in disabled. All right. So you come here and you select this. Now, if you got that spelling wrong, if it's not the same spelling with the name here, let's say you wrote disable and you missed the D at the end, it's not going to work. So make sure that whatever name you have here is the same name you add to the prototype. So let's quickly check what we have. So we'll delete this, delete, delete. Okay. What we have to do is select this, take it up, make sure it's above the if statement. Okay. So let's check it out now. All right. There we have it. So the issue was that the if statement was the second here, it was placed over here. So these other previous interactions we added then went below it. So this really matters when you're working. You have to know the way they are placed to make sure you don't make mistake. Because if it's placed in a certain way, it affects what you've already put in place there. So just be mindful. All you have to do is just click and drag it to rearrange it the appropriate way. So that is what we have for today. So we were able to achieve all this. We were able to make everything function the way we want. So these numbers just keep increasing, decreasing. All the buttons are working. So we can go ahead to delete this and it subtracts the $100. If I go ahead to remove this, we'll be left with $80. If I add it up, it keeps adding. Yeah, and if I delete this last item, we have zero item here. This is supposed to be zero item rather than zero items, right? What you can do is you can add a bracket and add the S in the bracket, right? So our button here is inactive right now, just the way we want it. We finally come to the end of this tutorial. If you liked the video and it was helpful, you can give the video thumbs up, you can subscribe and turn on your notification bell so whenever I create any new video, you'll be the first to be notified. Okay, this video was actually highly requested. For a lot of people kept saying I should make a video on a full functional add to cart page. I already have something like this on my page, but this is more advanced. If you want to check that out, you can just go and check the video out. It's also advanced prototyping with variables. But with this tutorial today, we actually did more. We went a bit further. So thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.